The Ember Court Conspiracy, Part 3. The Distraction, a fantasy story by Lady-Ava's Tales, narrated by Ed Horn. From the Dimension Shift channel on YouTube. Thanks for lending Lady-Ava's Tales your voice. The Ember Court had stood unchallenged for millennia. Its burning towers rose from rivers of fire, untouched by the troubles of the human world. But on this night, that peace was about to end. A lone rider approached the gates carrying urgent news. King Halverin Draust of Belthorn Crossing was coming. A sudden visit, 12 council elders, a kingdom desperate for a cure to a spreading sickness. To the Queen, it would seem like diplomacy, but somewhere within the Ember Court, someone had already begun moving the next piece of the conspiracy, and the distraction had begun. For generations, the human kingdom of Belthorn Crossing had prospered in peace. Its fields were fertile, its rivers carried trade across distant lands, and its people lived quietly beneath the watchful rule of King Halverin Draust. On this evening, the king stood alone upon his balcony at sunset. The valley below glowed golden beneath the fading light. The river flowed calmly through the countryside, and smoke curled from the chimneys of distant homes. His people were thriving. But peace often hides the shadows gathering just beyond the light, and tonight one of those shadows had come for him. A movement catches the king's eye. He turns slowly. Beside him, darkness begins folding inward. Like living smoke, the air grows colder. Then suddenly, Galsasa appears, a towering demon lord with jagged horns, ember-red eyes, and skin like charred obsidian.
What devil dares enter my chamber unannounced?
Not a devil, king. A messenger. My legions already move through your kingdom. They travel with shadow, silent, untraceable.
What are you talking about?
The sickness spreading among your people. I placed it there. My legions have already infected enough of your population, just enough to draw attention. The rest of your people, I have generously left untouched. For now. Oh, and one more detail. This sickness spreads among humans and fairies. So if I were you, your majesty, I would remove the infected from your city by dawn. Otherwise, the rest of your people will follow the same fate.
The king stares at him.
What do you want?
You and your council, you and your guards, we made sure you remain immune. Insurance, so you can deliver our little problem to the one place it needs to go.
He pauses, then speaks with cold, calculated menace.
And we delayed the spread to the rest of your kingdom. But if you fail to act, everyone in your kingdom will die. Your people, your council, and eventually, you.
What must I do?
There is only one place left for you. The faerie realm, the palace of Queen Pontok.
Why? What is there that will help me with this unforeseen disaster?
Because she hosts a guest, a Jinn.
He lets the name hang in the air.
Magipak. He is the only being capable of curing the sickness.
But you can cure it, as you created it, and why bring it in the first place to my door?
Watch your tongue and your tone, little human. Don't play with fire you cannot control. You have until midnight tomorrow. Bring your sick to the faerie realm, or watch them die before your eyes. Your move, human king.
The demon dissolves into shadow. Gone, silence fills the balcony. Then, a loud knock at the chamber door. And a voice rang out behind the door.
Your Majesty, apologies for disturbing you, but we need you in the council chamber immediately. This is urgent and cannot wait until first light.
The king moved towards the door with chills running down his spine, but he needed to stay calm. The high spiritual elder stands there pale as snow.
Your Majesty, something terrible is happening. We must speak with you now. We will meet you in the council chamber as soon as possible.
The king acknowledges the request.
I will meet you back in the council chamber, High Spiritual Elder Sarathiel.
The demon's words echo in his mind. 12 elders argue around a circular table, voices overlapping, panic spreading. King Halverin raises his voice.
Calm down.
Silence falls upon everyone in the chamber, and their attention is focused on the king in silence.
I know exactly what is happening. A demon visited me moments ago.
Shock spreads through the chamber.
He told me the sickness spreading through our lands was placed there intentionally.
Whispers ripple across the council. King Halverin continues.
He gave us only one chance to save our people. A Jinn, in the palace of the fairy queen Pontok, Magipak.
The chamber falls silent, but they are all in fear on what is coming next. King Halverin slams his fist on the table.
There is nothing else we can do.
He points toward an elder, and the authority radiates through the anger on his face, what has been done to his people and his kingdom.
Send a writer immediately. Carry a letter bearing my royal seal. Inform the queen we will arrive tomorrow.
He sits back down and he looks at all 12 elders with much concern on his face.
This matter will be handled by the full council. Our Lord Commander will govern in our absence.
The elders stare in disbelief. King Halverin slams the table again.
Is that clear?
They nod in silence, and he could see agreement on their faces with no word spoken.
Good. Prepare every wagon. Prepare every horse cart. Gather the sick. The sick will leave at dawn. As for the council, we ride at midnight.
The streets are chaos, carts, torches, the sick everywhere, boils, fever, eyes already hollow, the king mounted on his horse.
By dawn, every sick person must be loaded onto wagons and sent toward the fairy realm. We will arrange their arrival at the gates.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Guard Captain Nathaniel noticed a rider approaching the gates and presses a glowing blue crystal on his armor.
Halt, and state your purpose.
Envoy from the human border territories.
He presents a scroll with the royal crest seal and stretched to hand it to Guard Captain Nathaniel, and then he announces,
A message from King Halverin Draust of Belthorn Crossing.
The human king.
He rides here now, with 12 of his elder council.
12.
They will arrive by morning, and the horde sick behind them they are leaving at dawn. Everyone is desperate.
The queen has heard the news you bring and will allow you through the gates. A guard will escort you to the stables and then show you to your lodging for the evening. Food and drink will be brought to you so you may rest.
The news traveled quickly through the Ember Court. Humans rarely visited the fairy realm, kings almost never did. Yet now one rode toward their gates with his noble council, and the sick following behind him. With almost no warning, it was urgent, and urgent matters had a way of changing destinies. The Queen reads the message with her full attention, and without looking away from the message, she asks the Chamberlain,
They arrive by dawn,
Yes, Your Majesty.
and he brings all 12 of his elder council.
According to the rider.
Then we welcome them properly.
You suspect something.
I suspect desperation. They mentioned the sick following. And our kingdom has some of the most advanced healers in all realms.
Human kings do not suddenly journey across realms without reason. Trade could wait, diplomacy could wait, but desperation rarely could. And somewhere beyond the borders of the fairy realm, something had gone terribly wrong.
My king begs audience with Your Majesty.
For what purpose?
Sickness spreads through our lands. Our king discovered the cure lies within your realm.
What cure?
The Jinn.
The court becomes silent.
Magipak.
Our king believes he can stop the sickness.
And so your king rides personally to ask for the Jinn.
He fears his people will die without him.
Magipak stood in the shadowed edge of the great hall, hidden between the towering crystal pillars. He had heard every word, and the moment the messenger spoke his name, something inside him turned cold. This was no natural sickness. No one outside the Ember Court knew he was here. Not the human kingdoms, not the wandering traders, not even most of the fairy courts. Only two beings knew that secret. The unknown man and the demon Gulsasa. Magipak felt the currents of magic shifting in the air, subtle, twisting, carrying the unmistakable scent of deception. The game had already begun, and someone had just moved a dangerous piece. Magipak did not enter the chamber. He simply appeared. No sound, no warning, no trace of movement. One moment the space beside the queen stood empty, the next he was there. A lesser ruler might have recoiled, might have betrayed surprise or fear or awe, but Queen Pontok did not move. Her gaze remained steady, her expression unchanged. Not a flicker of shock crossed her face, yet behind that calm, there was understanding. This was no ordinary power. This was something ancient, something precise, something far beyond the reach of most beings in any realm. And in that silent moment, the Queen recognized a truth she had already begun to suspect. Of all the forces now moving against her, Magipak was the one she would trust to stand between her and whatever was coming.
Your Majesty,
You have news.
I overheard the conversation with the messenger, and another conversation I have not yet spoken to you about.
Go on, tell me what you have learnt about this obscure situation I find myself in.
It was between an unknown man within these walls, and a demon lord named Galsasa. The one behind the attack plans another attempt.
When will this occur, did you find out?
It has already begun.
The sickness, the king, the horde, this is no coincidence. This is all part of their plan. That's cruel, dragging innocents into a war that isn't theirs. That kind of act carries the harshest consequences. Or don't you agree?
And we both know this now from somewhere within this court.
Magipak stood over the fallen demon, his gaze fixed, unblinking, as he studied what should have been a lifeless corpse. But it was not still, not truly. The creature was beginning to shift, to unravel, as though time itself were pulling it backward, returning it to the realm from which it had been summoned. And Magipak understood immediately what that meant. Rebirth. The demon would not remain dead. It would return, restored, whole once more. And in Magipak's world, that was no small matter. It was a threat, a dangerous one. Then the body began to glow, faint at first, then brighter. Demonic glyphs surfaced across its form, burning symbols etched in infernal energy. That was a very bad sign. These were not the markings of a lesser summoning. No, this bore the signature of something far more powerful. Demon lords, ancient, deliberate, and behind it all, guiding every movement from the shadows, was Galsasa, the one pulling the strings.
If sickness spreads in their lands, a horde. If infected humans enter the faerie realm,
the disease could spread.
Fairies have little immunity to human illness.
That would kill thousands of my kin.
And I would be forced to deal with it. That is the distraction.
It was elegant, cruel, and devastatingly effective. A desperate king seeking help, a sick population marching behind him, a plague capable of destroying the faerie realm, and the only being capable of stopping it, Magipak, exactly where the conspirator wanted him, away from the Queen.
Magipak.
You look like someone drowning.
Magipak sees the vial she is holding tightly in her hands, but his expression stays neutral, not to startle her that he noticed the vial.
My daughter, my brother. They will die if I refuse.
What is inside it?
I don't know.
Who gave it to you?
I never saw his face. He wore a robe that hid his face and an unknown voice. It is like it was strange, not human, not fairy, like something else unknown. But he knew everything about my family.
Loyalty had carried Pantoki through 12 years of service, but love had finally broken her silence, and the conspiracy hiding in the shadows was beginning to reveal its teeth. Kugabakanor examines the vial with great intensity and magic.
This is not demonic.
I suspected as much.
Aconitum,
the wolfsbane of kings.
The deadliest bane herb in all realms.
One drop.
Enough.
They chose something I could not detect.
Until now, but this is now revealed.
The second attempt had revealed itself, not through magic, not through demons, but through fear, and fear had finally spoken. The distraction had begun. A king seeking salvation, a sickness seeking new victims, and a faerie court preparing its welcome. Tomorrow, the gates of the Ember Court would open, and when they did, every piece of the conspiracy would collide.